Welcome to the Pet Loss Companion. I'm Ken Delvecchio, and I'm here with my friend and co-author, Nancy Saxton-Lopez. And this is a program that we do live on YouTube every Thursday from 6 p.m. Eastern to about 6:30. And it is a program that it grew out of the book that we wrote called The Pet Loss Companion, Healing Advice from Family Therapists Who Lead Pet Loss Groups. And it is a forum that allows us to have a conversation with audience members. And the way that we do that is we read letters that you send to us about the story of your beloved animal companion's life and their passing and how you're doing in your healing process. And you can reach me at kenddv at gmail.com, and you can reach Nancy at nancysaxtonlopez at gmail.com. And all of the information that you might want about the program and about connecting with us and supporting our work can be found in the description that is attached to the program. One thing that we'd like you to know is that this program is a friend of Dakin Humane Society in Springfield, Massachusetts. Dakin is a wonderful animal rescue, shelter, adoption program that also offers many other services, one of which is a pet loss support meeting that I facilitate every month on the second Tuesday of the month. And it runs from 6 p.m. Eastern Time to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the RSVP link is in the description. And I'd like you to know that it's entirely cost-free, but we do ask that you RSVP as soon as you know that you are going to be with us, because it's a program that a lot of people come to and we have to cut it off at a certain number. Actually, we cut it off at 50, and we have a number somewhere usually between 20 and 40 who join us. So please do consider joining us if that might be helpful for you. And also, we'd like to ask you, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to the program. And if you have, thank you so much. And also, if you can give a thumbs up or leave a comment.
Or
These things are hard. Yeah, these things really help the algorithm to prioritize our program when people are looking for pet loss support. So if you find the program helpful, please do one of those things, subscribe, and then after you've subscribed, if you can give a heart or a thumbs up or leave a comment, all of those things raise the profile of the program and make it easier for people who would be benefiting from it to find it. And then finally, we'd like you to know that we have an affiliate relationship with a company called Bereave. And Bereave is a company that makes these really beautifully crafted granite memorial plaques like the one you see on the screen. And they're quite heavy, and the engraving, as you can see, is very detailed. It's done very well. And if you purchase one of these memorial plaques, which you might put in a memorial garden or a gravesite or inside where you keep mementos of your animal family member, then if you purchase this through the link in our description, you will be giving us a little bit of support as well. So we get a little bit of money from the purchase if you buy it through our link. And Nancy, you want to get us started for today?
Yeah. We have a story tonight from Jacqueline about her buddy. That's always nice, right? Her buddy, her little buddy. And as a lot of our stories, most of our stories are, it's that connection that we have with our human animal bond. And you know, how amazing the bond that Jacqueline had with Buddy, and the life they had, and then the unfortunate death, and then her grief journey. But it came to Ken, so Ken's going to be the one to say, read the email.
And here is a picture of Buddy, who was
what a
insanely
cutie.
Really cute.
He's a cutie.
He was a 13-year-old standard cockapoo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here is a composite,
Oh,
which you
what a beautiful pictures.
can't see all that great. I guess it's kind of a small
Yeah.
image, and so it's a little fuzzy, but it certainly gives you an impression of the adventures that Buddy had at the seashore
Yeah.
and lots of other places with his human being, Jacqueline. So
Mm.
let me read the story, and I'm going to put
And I think
just a picture.
also maybe Jacqueline's she uses her mom. So maybe she is in UK. I don't
She's
know.
in somewhere in Europe because
Europe,
her
yeah.
email is europe.com. So
Ah, okay.
anyway, so I'm going to leave Buddy up while I
Yep.
read. Dear Ken, I'm struggling with the loss of my dog. Here's my story. We lost our beloved Buddy, a 13-year-old standard cockapoo, and the grief and shock are overwhelming. Buddy was more than just a pet. He was my best friend, and the bond we shared was special beyond words. I got Buddy for my mom, after her husband passed away, and I would visit during the holidays, taking him on walks 3 times a day. He was a curious, playful, and adventurous dog, always eager to explore the outdoors. Those trips were something I look forward to, and together we had many wonderful adventures. When COVID hit, I moved in with my mom, and that's when Buddy and I truly formed an unbreakable bond. Every morning and again in the evening, we would go on long walks, 2 hours through the beach or the forest. He would chase rabbits, swim in the sea, and we had special spots where we would sit. I would watch the ocean, and he would sit next to me, his eyes reflecting the peace we both shared. He watched sunsets with me, walked in the winter snow, an explorer by heart. He had his bed in my room and followed me everywhere. He was always by my side, whether climbing hills or just sharing quiet moments. His intelligence and his beautiful doggy eyes always communicated so much. He even knew how to get extra treats from me. At home, he was the king of comfort, with his giant dog bed and countless blankets to snuggle in. He was truly my best friend. In February, Buddy wasn't feeling well, and my mom took him to the vet. He was dehydrated, so they gave him fluids and antibiotics, and he seemed to recover. Then in March, he began limping, so he went back to the vet. The vet suspected muscle strain and gave him pain relief along with his regular Librela injection for arthritis in his spine. We carried on, and the limp gradually improved. But soon Buddy began to lose his appetite. I tried everything, from butcher's beef to Lily's kitchen, but his kibble went untouched. He still ate his treats. Still, he managed to go on our long walks. We took him to the vet and discovered he had lost weight, so the vet ordered blood tests. His blood work was good, but he was anemic, and they recommended an ultrasound. The results were a devastating shock, a tumor in his spleen that would rupture within days. Surgery was an option, but the tumor had spread to his liver. It's not usually in these breeds, but his mother was a poodle. What caused it? My mom arranged for an in-home euthanasia visit for Friday. After the vet appointment, we spent the next 2 days together, walking on the beach and playing with his stick in the sea. I tried to act normal, knowing Buddy was so attuned to me and could sense my emotions. The whole experience felt surreal. How could this be happening? Just an hour before the home visit, we went to the field behind our house. Buddy sat in the same spot I had taken him to all those years ago, and it was as if he was saying, "It's okay, remember our times." He passed away peacefully before the tumor ruptured, and I'm grateful he didn't have to suffer. Still, I can't help but replay the what-ifs in my mind. What if we had found the tumor earlier? Could he have had surgery? He would be here now with me. His whole life, he would just wanted to be in the present and outdoors, and he was. He had a great life. Buddy was loved by everyone who met him. He had a kind, gentle soul and brought joy to all of us. He knew me better than anyone and gave me unconditional love every day. The pain of losing him is profound, but I know he will forever be with me in my heart. How can I heal from this incredible pain? I could not save him, and I had always protected him against everything. I feel like some of me had died too. Rest in peace, Buddy. You'll always be my best friend. April 25th, 2025. Kind regards, Jacqueline.
What a, it's one of these stories that always breaks our heart. All of our stories break our heart, right? And it's always the guilt afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes, there were, something happened in February, something happened in March, but all of a sudden, right, in April, all of this went down, and it was not expected. And so the guilt afterwards is, why didn't we know? Why didn't we go to the vet sooner? Why wouldn't we have had found out about the tumor ahead of time, right? And all this happens so frequently,
Oh yeah, this
all the
the
time.
the discovery. It's we've heard this so many times over the
Oh,
past few years about a tumor that is threatening to rupture and how very
yeah,
painful that would be. And we've heard some stories where the tumor actually did rupture, and the dog was in extraordinary pain and was
yeah,
immobilized. Basically, couldn't move. They were in such great pain,
yeah,
and so she definitely did the right thing in easing Buddy out of this life through
yeah.
euthanasia before that
It
happened.
ruptured.
Yeah,
And that and in some way she was given that, right? She was given
yeah,
a few days. I
yeah,
mean, we she did not know, or nobody would have known when this baby was going to rupture. And it had already had moved too. But she was very blessed by the couple days that they had together, right?
yeah,
And he probably had his great food, and he got on the beach again, and they sat in their places, and they were able to be with him and love him through his transition.
yep. And Esme is here now.
Is around.
She's pushing
I
the
see
computer.
her.
She's pushing me. She's trying to knock the computer over. Anyway, but she said some things that are just as you've described are so typical. One of them
Yeah.
was, you have this very gentle soul and you want to be able to protect them. And
Right.
I've felt this about all my dogs, but one in
Yeah.
particular, Jack, who was just a
Oh,
very
Jack.
kind of
He's so
little
cute.
anxious guy,
He's such a
and
baby.
it was so difficult to imagine that he was going to die because we were kind of running interference with the world on him all the time because he was just a sort of frightened little dog, and then I had to realize that there are some things that don't the protection isn't really the word. It's more like you try to help them to be comfortable through
Yeah.
the end. And but that's so typical that you want to protect them, and protecting them at baseline means keeping them alive
Keeping them
un,
alive.
until that's no longer
Possible.
the way to that's no longer possible. And but
Although we all think, though, right, that if we do everything that we're supposed to do to keep them alive, we in some way we believe that we could conquer whatever that is, right?
well, yeah.
And then we find out
Well,
that,
we find
that
out that death is not negotiable.
no, and also disease is not either.
Yeah, and one of the
And
things that she wrote is so poignant that it's like when they were out together, it was like Buddy said to her, "It's okay, remember
yeah,
our times." Like trying to communicate with her that
to
they would
ease
be
her.
together. They
Hmm.
would be together through memory,
Hmm.
and that really was beautiful. So the connection that they had, and I have to show his face again. He was
Oh,
so
he's such a
such a
beautiful,
sweet soul.
sweet.
You can see that so clearly. I mean, all dogs are beautiful, but this one looks so gentle and soulful.
Yeah, yeah, soulful. That's a good word, right?
Like
And
he's
then
looking at us.
she asks, "How can I heal from this?" And this is another question that we always got in the group, right?
Yeah,
How am I ever going to get over this? How am I going to move
yeah.
forward?
And one of the things I told her is you're doing it. You're communicating.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, you're doing it. You're communicating with others. You're memorializing him. You have your mom. It sounds like is really close to
hmm,
was very close to both of you, and I'm sure there's others as well. And but the writing you're doing is cathartic. I'm
cathartic.
sure. So
And having us, speak it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Another
To
way to
memorialize,
kind of
right?
get it out, give
Uh-huh.
a little bit of a distance, a different perspective, perhaps a little bit, and then what you do is you just do the best you can, putting one foot
Right.
in
Out
front of
of
the
the
other,
other.
keep going, take care of the basics, and try not to fight with the sad feelings
Yeah.
or the whatever the what ifs, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Just let them happen and try not
And
to
then
give
let
them
them,
too much attention.
right. And then let them flow away,
Let them go away.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
But we all know that the last task of mourning is to incorporate the loss into your day to day life. And you will never stop grieving, really, but they will be eternally in your heart and
yeah,
part of your soul,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the hard part, that transition between having them physically with you to being in spirit, you
And
know.
it's often very gradual
Hmm.
and fits and starts like everything in grief. And then at some point, you remember them with a smile,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt quite as much. And that is welcome because
Hmm.
you know that that's just the reality now.
Hmm.
And
And everyone grieves differently, and
yep,
that's an important you know,
yep, yep.
piece of this. I just got a referral of someone, and when she was talking about her dog, which was inadvertently run over by her sister in a
Oh,
car,
so hard.
um,
Such a hard
but
loss.
it's been a year
Mm-hmm.
and a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so she finally is trying to grapple with this. And she was afraid. She was, do I have complicated grief? I mean, because it's been so long. But I don't think that she actually worked on this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a whole family thing. And so, but, we have
Well,
to be
families, wow, family. I mean, some families go right for it and they are emotional and they share with each other and they're compassionately
Mhm.
available to one another. They don't try to seal it over, all that. And then other families, I mean, I've worked with families where they're like, okay, well, we'll never speak of that
Ever.
person, animal. We will never speak of them again,
Mhm.
which is not usually a good strategy at all.
No.
And the reason is that if you do that, first of all, you never get to go through your grief. And really, the only way to get beyond grief is to go through it. The only way to
Yeah.
get is to learn to hold it, not even to go through it. And it's not going to go away. You're still going to hold it, but you're going to hold it in a way
In a different way.
that's
Mhm.
acceptable, that doesn't hurt
Right.
as much ultimately. There's something that happened in the meeting that was very instructive that I'll bring into the last few minutes of our time together today, and that is that there was a person in the meeting who said, every now and then I cannot get over the feeling that my animal companion is still alive. Like it's just I feel like they're still alive, and in fact
Yeah.
I have an impulse to go and dig them up. And I asked the meeting how many people sometimes have the feeling that, oh my God, they're still alive. I should go get them out of the box. Almost everybody raised their hand. And
Yeah.
because this woman thought she was nuts. And I remember when Isabel died, I had her in the refrigerator, actually in the freezer, because Tim was away. And I can't tell you how many times I
You
had this
went and
sense of,
looked.
oh my God, she's in the freezer.
Mhm.
That's terrible. And I would go and look, and yep, she's dead, actually dead. And
Yeah.
so when you have these kinds of irrational thoughts,
Hmm.
try not to label yourself insane.
No, you're not.
Instead, just say, this is what the mind sometimes does. It
Well,
does
because
these
you
very crazy
weird things.
things.
Well, you don't want to. You don't want your loved one to be
No,
dead.
and
I mean,
that's,
and that's so. I mean, the other thing is how a lot of people say, "I wish I was with them.
yeah.
I want to go
Well,
with
that's another
them."
thing we talked about is passive suicidal
Yeah.
ideation. I don't want to live
Hmm.
here. I don't want to be here anymore.
No.
And the
Right.
difference between passive suicidal ideation, which is really, again, very common, and having a plan, rehearsals, actually having a history of attempts to hurt oneself. I
Mhm.
mean, those are very different dynamics and so if you have passive suicidal ideation, which is basically what you said, I don't want to be here anymore without them. The world isn't,
Right.
I don't want to be in this
I
world.
can't live without them.
Yeah, that's part of grief. It's fairly normal. A
Mhm.
lot of people experience passing suicidal thoughts. That doesn't mean,
Ideation.
yeah,
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that they're going to actually hurt themselves. And it's a good idea for us to detoxify them because if that transitions into a plan or into some
Right.
kind of actions or rehearsals, then you deserve to get the help that will keep you safe.
Exactly. And
And
that's
so,
where you look for, a therapist or
yep,
someone who can help you.
yep, yep.
And that's fine.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good thing.
helpful.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing. It's a good thing to see a therapist. I've seen
Hmm.
therapists on and off most of my
Hmm.
adult life.
We have to.
Yes, we do. And so I guess we will leave it there.
Oh, wait.
And
So let me have a question. There are two
sure.
things I want to just mention.
Okay.
I'm working on, I was telling Ken, and if people have TikTok, there is a site called Self True Journey, and it has a lot on pet loss. And I next week I'll hopefully have one, which is one episode was really interesting because it talks about how our neurons in our brain are changed by the love of a dog and the death of a dog, and it's fascinating to me. So if people want to look into that, because not everyone has TikTok, and I think
Hmm.
they're on YouTube, but they don't have all of the dog ones, and it seems to be more about dogs than any other
Yeah.
pet.
Yeah, I don't have TikTok, so I'll have to try
Um,
to, maybe I'll look at
it's
it.
really interesting. And the other thing is, and I don't know if Kate LaSalle is here tonight, but we would like her to. She's got a new workshop coming up about fostering. So maybe Ken and I were talking about this to have her on the show because a lot of times people that have lost their animals still want to be involved. And so, and maybe fostering could be, an option for them before they actually adopt another dog.
And it would also be helpful to talk about how to manage the feelings of releasing a dog who you've
Yes.
been fostering to their permanent home. I'd like to hear more about that because I don't think I
Yeah.
could do that.
So a lot of people listen. Here we go. TikTok again. I don't spend all my time on TikTok. Oh, but Isabel Klee has now become very famous because she is a foster person in New York, in the city, and she has gotten a lot of fame because she's done the journeys of all of her fosters,
Hmm.
right? And right now, Tiki is famous, and a lot of people are like, we are watching for Tiki because Tiki was it appears very abused and very
Hmm.
scared. And finally, Tiki is opening up after about 2 or 3 weeks. So,
Good.
and Isabel Klee, Klee, who's a lovely lady, has now written a book. She just skyrocketed with people really watching her,
Hmm.
take care of these
That's
dogs and
great.
fostering them.
That's great.
So,
Okay, so we'll say goodbye for now,
yeah.
and we'll be back with each
Whole
other
bunch of
and with
stuff
you next week.
next week.
Okay, take care, Nancy. Take care,
And
everybody.
thank you also, Jacqueline. Please, thank you
Yes,
so
thank you,
much with
Jacqueline.
your.
And also, again, if you could leave a comment or an emoji, a thumbs up, a heart, all of that is really helpful
Helpful.
in getting more people to be aware of the program. If you find it valuable, it's always helpful if you can alert other people to the program's existence too. Thanks very much.
And take care, everyone.
Mhm.
Good luck.